But among the Olympic celebrations, COVID is taking hold in Tokyo. Overnight, U.S. pole vaulter, a two-time reigning world champion, Sam Kendricks, tested positive and is now out of the Games. Our Kenneth Moten is in Tokyo with more on COVID's impact on these Games. But, Kenneth, before we get to that, I do want to get to a little breaking news, and I want to warn viewers, this is a spoiler alert, so put your earmuffs on if you don't want to hear it for a few seconds. But we've been talking all this time. Not you, Kenneth. You keep your earmuffs up. We've been talking this whole time about how Simone Biles withdrew from the individual all-around competition, and now we are learning that a U.S. Olympian still took home the gold in that competition, Sunisa Lee. What do we know so far, Kenneth?
Sunisa Lee, Diane Macedo, taking home the gold in the individual all-around. How about that? That just came in literally about a couple of minutes ago, as you said, spoiler alert, but that is some great news for Team USA Gymnastics, especially after the week they've had. Yes, Simone Biles has been dominating the news cycle. She has been talking about, yes, her mental health, and as she works on herself, she is also cheering on Team USA Gymnastics, her teammates. She has been there for them. She is their leader. She's their anchor still, even though she is not competing. And look what we've got here. We've got Sunisa Lee winning the gold in the individual all-around, a competition everyone was looking at Simone Biles for, but her teammates, another example of her teammates stepping up here. So some good news there, Diane.
Amazing. It just goes to show, even if one person seems to be the focus of all the attention, this is ultimately a team, and Team USA women's gymnastics, along with all the teams, have really shown that. And we just finished talking about how the swimmers are doing great, even without Michael Phelps this year. So awesome news there. Unfortunately, Kenneth, though, we have to pivot back to some of the negative news. How significant is this positive COVID test for Sam Kendricks? What does this mean for him? What does it mean for his pole vaulting team?
This was a shockwave through the Olympics because this double world champion who, again, as you remember, he was the one who won in Rio, won bronze. He made headlines for stopping mid-vault while he heard the U.S. national anthem playing there, track and field. He was one of the ones to watch. Any competition that he got in for track and field, it was going to be a highlight for the event, and now that's not going to happen. And it was such a ripple effect, his positive case there, that it had an impact on other athletes as well from other countries. We had a whole Australian team for track and field who had to isolate while they figured out if they were negative, make sure as the IOC and Tokyo 2020 works to prevent the spread of COVID-19, that's the protocol. If you had contact with someone who has a positive case, you go into isolation, there's contact tracing, all of that. Later, come to find out that the Australian team, they're okay, they got the green light, they were clear from isolation, but it just shows you the ripple effect this can have. But again, such a disappointment or disappointing news to come out of these Olympics that Sam Kendricks is out.
Yeah, it sure is. Kendricks is now the 7th U.S. athlete to miss the Games because of a positive test. How concerning is that for other U.S. athletes, especially given there are now 198 positive cases inside the Olympic bubble?
Nearly 200. We are about to break 200, and we are expected to get there very easily. We're expecting here in the next few hours some updated numbers. Nearly 4,000 new daily cases here in Tokyo during the state of emergency. Those numbers there, they just continue to climb. And we know that Olympic officials are watching these numbers. But as these games go on, we do think that they will continue, but to see the numbers ticking up the way they are. And this time last week, Diane, we were hovering around 1,000, 1,500 daily cases. It kept going up 200, went back down, and then bam, more than 3,000. Now we're close to 4,000. Those numbers are staggering, especially considering, again, that this city's in a state of emergency and as they watch this surge in COVID cases.
And as if that's not all enough to deal with, I know the weather's also not doing these athletes any favors. You've had storms there, you've had extreme heat there, Kenneth. What's it like there now, and how are they dealing with this?
It's been a lot, Diane, because we know this heat can be dangerous. It has been dangerous. We have athletes who have fainted. We have athletes who have been literally wheeled off their field of play, off the tennis court, because they were suffering from heat stroke. And so we've been asking IOC officials here in Tokyo. What are you doing to protect these athletes here in Tokyo, which is seeing rising temperatures? Our temperatures have been in the anywhere from the high 80s to the mid 90s to high 90s. That's the temperature, but the feel-like temperature, the humidity, is more than 100 degrees. I was out and about today. Yesterday, I think, would be for you, again, time difference. I was out and about. I was in the middle of it, and within seconds, start sweating. And it can be, again, very dangerous heat, especially if you're competing, because Olympians will always push themselves. The body will tell you when to stop, when you're suffering potentially from heat stroke. But if you're an Olympian, you push yourselves. And so that's what we're seeing here in Tokyo. And we asked an IOC official earlier today about what they're doing to keep these athletes safe. Take a listen.
Because the body is very good at preventing heat stroke. It will tell you to stop. But if you're in an Olympic competition, there's a temptation not to stop. We have heat decks in all of the venues where there is a risk, where there are ice baths and all the equipment necessary so that if anyone does suffer heat stroke, we can deal with it really quickly and efficiently. However, the main aim is on prevention and mitigation.
So when it comes to tennis, they've moved the start times. So instead of in the morning, they're starting later in the afternoon, hoping to not play in the harsh, scorching temperatures in the heat of the day. U.S. rugby players, Diane, they're working with a trainer and dietitian to do things and figure out ways to keep their bodies cool. So that's what we're seeing athletes do. Also, we know that athletes, even before they came to Tokyo, some of them trained in heat chambers to get ready. But we've heard them say, even though they trained that way before coming to Tokyo, they still were not prepared for the heat here in this capital city, in this host city. And so how is climate change impacting the heat here in Tokyo? We're going to be reporting on that throughout the day here on ABC News Live and tonight on ABC News Live Prime. Diane.
All right. Kenneth Moten in Tokyo. Stay cool, my friend. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.